Okay, a regular customer of ours brought us this silver Jetta. This is a TDI, looks like a 2002, and he buys and sells TDIs, but looks like a relatively nice car. You should see the leather interior on this thing. It is just beautiful. But there's a story behind this car, and the story, let me get out of the wind. There's a story behind this car, and the story is they developed a problem, and if I remember right, they said a transmission problem, and then at that point they kind of gave up on the car. It's kind of been disassembled. I'll show you that once we get the car inside, but we're going to bring the car inside and try and get it running. The customer who brought it to us is sure that if they have a transmission problem, they're going to do a 5-speed conversion on it. He's even brought us a transmission to do so. Some related parts there. But as long as we can get this thing running, then we'll be doing a 5-speed conversion on it. It's kind of a resurrection because it's been sitting for a long time, not been started. He kind of said something along the lines of the customer had been pulling parts off of it. We have here our trusty seat belt with hooks on the end of it. Guess I'll show you what we have under the hood here. Right off the bat, no battery, no breather, no mass airflow sensor, radiator hose just sitting there, vacuum reservoir just laying there, glow plug harness destroyed, timing cover, looks like somebody probably just peeled that back to take a look. I don't see anything wrong in there, but we'll look in there depending on what we find. No serpentine belt on here. Well, to start with, we need to get a battery in here so we can try and start it. Put the old boost box in here first and see what happens. Level of charge on the boost box is medium, so it might not be good enough. Go wiggle the terminals. Let the glow plug cycle first. Wait a second, I don't see a glow plug light. Where's it at? No glow plug light, huh? The boost box ain't getting it done. Let me get a battery in here. Battery tray in here. There is some parts laying around inside the car and some in the trunk, so maybe there's a battery tray in there. Still no glow plug light. Not starting, still not cranking real well either. On a diesel, the first thing, especially this style with an injection pump, VE style of a TDI, the first thing I do when they won't start is I always prime the injection pump and then bleed the injectors. This is a broken dipstick tube. That's nice. So that's what I'm going to do on this one. I've been meaning to make a video on priming the injection pump and bleeding the injectors, so I'm going to make a separate video for that, and that video will be posted standing alone. If it makes this vehicle start, yay, we'll go from there, but from this point on, you need to refer over to the video that I'm going to post titled Prime Injection Pump and Bleed Injectors. Okay, so now the injection pump is primed, so now you need to bleed the injector. On all 4 of them. And then you crank the engine. This is also a good test to see that it's getting fuel, because this should, if this has good fuel supply and the injection pump's working, it should squirt fuel out of here real high, like say 1.5 foot high. We'll crank the engine and see if it's see how high it's squirting out. Obviously there is some fuel coming out, but I'm not seeing any squirting up at all. I'm looking through the windshield in order to see this, and it is just not coming up high. That is not good enough. These really need a bunch of pressure to open those injectors. So there's something else going on here. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do anyway. I'm going to close these off and see if it'll start. Okay, still no start. Guess the next step would be to scan the computer system. But there's one thing I want to check first, quick. This here is the fuel cutoff solenoid, and it turns the fuel on and off, allowing the engine to die. When I'm going to put my alligator clip on there and put this here, put the test light here. Hopefully that'll be a good enough ground for it. And when I turn the key on, that should light. Okay, so obviously that's not lighting, and I want to check my ground real quick by putting this on 12 volts there. My ground's good enough. I'm touching the battery with this alligator clip portion, so if the fuel cutoff solenoid was getting 12 volts, then it would have lit the test light. Now I could jump 12 volts to there real quick, but there was something I noticed when I was in the car earlier. Now I told you this car had a story behind it. And what I noticed was that relay sitting there. That's a big relay, and I'm pretty sure that's a wiper relay. That's a wiper relay. It says 377 on it. That definitely won't cause it not to start. But then over here, I'm seeing this isn't a relay, but it's the case of a relay, 100 relay. And up under here there's a 109 relay, and a 109 relay is very important for the engine to run. And I did notice that the glow plug light didn't work. So if the check engine light isn't working, that makes it very likely the 109 relay has a problem. I'm not seeing a check engine light. Sorry about the focus problem here. I'm pretty sure it should be right in this area right here, and there is no check engine light. No glow plug light either. So usually when you have a relay 109 problem, the scan tool won't communicate with it. So I'm going to scan this real quick before I get underneath there and start poking around with the relay. Okay, let's get this thing scanned. And like I said, when the relay 109 has a problem, it's bad, the car won't scan, or the computer won't communicate. And the only reason I keep saying there might be a problem there is because if 2 of the relays are out, maybe they took the relay out of this car. They've disassembled other stuff. So obviously they've got no response from the controller here. I would try again, but I already know the car won't start, and I already know the check engine light ain't coming on, the glow plug light ain't coming on, so it's pretty confident that there might be a relay problem in there. Well, this is pretty funny. What I'm seeing here is kind of ridiculous. I don't know if you can see that. There it is. There's a relay, and the cap's missing on it, and I kind of knew that might be the case because here's a cap right here, but then there's another relay right next to it, and it don't have a cap on it, and then there's another relay, and it don't have a cap on it. So we've got 3 uncapped relays right there. Sorry, I'm trying to show you these things. The 109 relay has 109 written across the top of it, and I don't know which of those would be relay 109 because none of them have relay 109 written on it. Because the caps are missing. You know, this cap says 100. That obviously ain't the 109 relay. But there is one relay up there with a number on it. That's 175, and I've done a lot of 5-speed conversions, and I just happen to know that's the starting relay, and it also works for the reverse lights on the automatic. So I'm going to go out to my parts car, and I'm going to see which one of those is the 109 relay. I'm probably going to grab the 109 relay from the parts car, and we'll stick it in there and see what happens. I guess while I'm walking out to my parts car, I'll give you a tour of the parking lot. This is the Wolfsburg 18T car that we did a video on before. If you remember the red coils, this is a gasser. And then that 06 right there, we just put an upgraded turbo on it for a customer. It's a TDI. And then that TDI right there, there's a CC Passat with a 2-liter BPY engine. And then this wagon, TDI, and then a Mini Cooper. And then this wagon's a TDI. And then here, this wagon's a TDI. And of course, we have the non-standard Geo Tracker, Audi 18T car. That's a GLX TDI. That car has had a whole bunch of GLX car parts put on it. It's a Mark III TDI, obviously. There's an 06 TDI. That's an interesting car right there. That's it's got the 3.6 VR6 engine in it, and it's an all-wheel drive Passat. I think it's 2007. There's my Eurovan. Here's a customer's Eurovan that we did a video on. And that's a random 06 Jetta TDI right there. Random Dodge. 05 Passat wagon TDI. Another Jetta TDI. Here's another 06 TDI. There's a cabriolet that we're doing a video on. And here's my parts car. This is a beautiful, wonderful, nice car. But the guy who sold it to me couldn't get the title for me. This car has minor damage here where it was set next to a car that caught on fire. Damage is pretty minor, but it also has a bad engine. Inside of the car is really nice too, but unfortunately with no title, it just becomes, and needing an engine, it just becomes a parts car. So let me crawl underneath here and see the location of the 109 relay and steal it out of here so I can use it in the other car. Well, I pulled this 377 relay out to make my life easier to get a handhold on the 109 relay. That's the 109 relay, and I know where it's supposed to go now. Oh, I forgot also, we have this silver TDI with the roof rack, and we got a couple 118 cars back here. This one's probably gonna, this red one's probably gonna end up being Cortland's. That one, I'd love to convert it to a TDI. FYI, these front end parts are probably going to end up on the wrecked car that I've done some videos on. Okay, I'm making every effort to try and show you what's going on here. And this is what I'm looking at. This relay right here is the 109 relay. And there's no number on it. So it's obviously been changed. So I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to pull this 175 relay out to where I can get a grab on this. But this is our 109 relay that was installed in this car. It doesn't say 109 on it. It does have a diagram on it. It's obviously an aftermarket relay, which is okay. But this is just a standard relay. I might even call this a 53 relay because that's what the you usually use when you make a 5-speed conversion. You make the car start with a 53 relay. This 109 relay doesn't have this prong right here like this one. It's got a small prong in the corner. Now obviously you can't use this relay where this relay goes. So whoever put this in here, what a... Anyway, let me stick this relay in the car and see what happens. Okay, relay installed. I can probably scan it and see if it's communicating or not. But right now I see I have a check engine light. How about a glow plug light? Give me a glow plug light. There it is. Well, it went away too fast. There it is, glow plug light. So we have a check engine light, we have a glow plug light. What do you think? It's gonna start? Okay, I'm shutting this right off. Because if you remember, it's got no serpentine belt. It's got radiator hose completely off, no antifreeze in it. But we now have a running car. Okay, so remember there was a story behind this car, and I think it was something along the lines of the transmission quit, and then they started pulling parts off of it. I hope they didn't give up on this car because they had the wrong relay in it. I certainly hope that their 109 relay didn't go bad, and then they put that wrong relay in there, and then they gave up on the car. Because this is a wonderful car. The inside of it's wonderful. The leather is beautiful. The exterior of the car is pretty good, except for the black grille. I hate that. I wanted to shoot a short section of video to get some closure on this diagnosis that we did on this Jetta. Probably the best direction we could have taken in this diagnosis was to notice the glow plug light early, notice the check engine light wasn't coming on, scan the computer system to see that it wasn't communicating, and then head after the relays. But I didn't. It wasn't the best direction, but it didn't cost me a lot of time. Our diagnosis got right back on track as soon as we noticed no fuel coming out of the ejectors. Now, on any no-start diagnosis, if you had a glow plug light and a check engine light and the scan tool would communicate with the engine computer, you would want to prime the injection pump and bleed the injectors, because there's so many problems that can cause no fuel to squirt out of there. Number one, no fuel in the tank. Number two, injection pump not primed. Number three, bad injection pump. Number four, some wiring problem not turning on power to the fuel solenoid. Or even the 109 relay being bad or the wrong one installed in its place. Okay, if you'd like to financially donate to the continued production of these videos, visit my website at www.kansascitytdi.com, and don't forget to click the like and subscribe button.